pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Malinsky.
Here.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Garrett. Here. Mayor McFetrich.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Looks good, everyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Motion carries, 2 abstentions. Presentation of petitions, communications, and general question period for members of the community. So to my fellow board members, I'd like to introduce 3 young men here who have agreed to serve as our youth liaison members to the village board. We have Tyler Yell, Aaron Deans, and David LePage. And so I invited them tonight to get to know you, and you get to know them. They understand that their role is that we're always looking for ideas for particularly preteens and teens. That seems to be the hardest group to be able to find activities that they would enjoy. And I figured they're great examples here right in the village. And so I welcome you, we all welcome you. I don't know if I don't wanna put you on the spot, but if you have anything you'd like to say, or any ideas, or we have a Christmas celebration coming up soon. We have activities for young people, little kids, we find those are pretty easy to organize. We do have trouble coming up with things that the older kids would like to do. So I turn it to you if you have anything to say. If you don't, that's fine, but don't be shy.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
David, do you have an idea that your mother's thinking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Basketball.
Oh, yes, go ahead and tell us about that.
So I've had multiple requests from other people to talk about basketball hoops, about how it got torn down and that many people want to see another one put up.
Okay, that's a great suggestion. It was destroyed by some people in the village, and it didn't get put back up this summer. But I think maybe next spring it could, Mike?
Yeah.
It's particularly difficult for David because he does play basketball, and if you know where I live in the corner of Church and Meadow Lane, so putting up a basketball hoop at my house would be, he'd be down Church Street picking up basketball most of the time, so
Not safe.
it's not a safe option for him.
So that's a great suggestion, and we will follow up on that, definitely.
We also have the paint for the whole lining of the court, yes, or half court. That will be put in next year as well with it.
Yeah, so the paint will be on our tarmac there.
Can the dip be filled in or not?
Not really, I don't think I'm no expert, I don't think you can patch on top of
Well,
paint.
you could, but you gotta do it with a paver.
You'd have to shim it and
You have to take the fence back
repave the
down.
whole thing.
You gotta have a bill pull off them. That was wet when they had the roll paver, when they got in there and they got stuck, I had to pull them with a loader, and it made a little spot. And we had put another coat on, but it didn't come out, cause it follows your paver follows the ground, it's not like a GPS driven that levels itself. So what your ground is, it follows, so we had a dip, it made it better, but it's still there. I don't know if there's anything I can do, if I can cut a small narrow groove that would try to drain that water off, I don't know if that would even work.
Mhm.
No, it's always a constant problem.
Yeah,
And eventually that's being moved, so to
Right.
put any expense into that is crazy.
That's,
So-
well, we had talked about it, I know I brought it up like a year ago, and that's what we decided, is that we're planning on moving it, so we didn't wanna put the money into repaving it, cause it would have to get repaved.
Where is it being moved to?
so the revitalization plan is that it's going to be moved, across the road from the community garden. So, the garden is on the river, right behind the 2 buildings there. That's still our land. It's going to be moved back there. It'll be safer. It'll get away from the street. And then we can have a more attractive entrance into the playground park. We can take that fence down, we can tear up the tarmac, we can have a better entrance. We've got some drawings that I'd be happy to show you that are part of that revitalization plan. Yeah, I know, they got taken down, I need to, I know, I need to put them back up. I'll put them back up tomorrow. So we will be moved eventually,
And I believe it's gonna be a full court, you know that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're doing a full court with 2 baskets,
Mhm.
so I'm not sure what the timing is gonna be, but
It's gonna depend a little bit on the funding. If we can find some grant money for it, it'll go a lot faster. Anything else? Not right now? All right, well, our meetings are normally on the second Monday, unless that is a holiday. So we welcome your participation and I thank you very, very much. And you're actually free to go if you want, or you're also welcome to stay. It's totally up to you.
Well, David needs to stay for school.
Yes, yes.
Any other suggestions from you guys? Things that you'd like to see done, any activities that we can host that would interest your age category? What do you guys like to do? Minus videos.
These kids are out a lot. I know you're out
Soccer?
on your bikes a lot.
Okay. What else?
What about a playing field? Where are you playing? Are you playing soccer or baseball or anything anywhere?
Soccer, you said. Yeah.
Sometimes we go down and throw the football, like down at St. Mary's, because it's like a big open field there.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Um,
There are also the playing fields at the old elementary school that we might be able to extend the agreement to use those. And that's a pretty big area too. Well, if you think of anything anytime, just let us know and we'll see what the next meeting.
Do you guys use the frisbee golf? Do you use the horseshoe pits? Have you tried any of those? They're really quite fun. So we do have frisbees here if you wanna try it, and then you get people involved in it. It's, you know, the mesh baskets to throw your frisbees into. It's really kinda fun. It's a good laugh.
There's one that's really close to the river, cause I
It
had
is.
some for, for the scouts,
You have to be very careful.
yeah.
That's when you
I
kinda,
skipped that one
She-
because
Yeah,
I
I
can
did.
guarantee it'll be in the water.
yeah, I just take a few steps close and kinda toss it in. Anyway, it is kinda fun. So we're trying to come up with things like that that are different, that would really hit you guys more. But, you know, I can write grants for anything, I just need to know what y'all want. That helps me a lot if I can get some input. Cause I'm old now. My kids are grown, they're old.
Okay. I
So
don't
think
wanna-
on that.
Yeah, just think about
And,
it,
you
no
know,
pressure.
next time, or even if you just wanna drop us a note here, or if you think of ideas, you know, just drop a note, place a phone call, and then they can give me some ideas. Cause there's tons of great grants out there to get things that you'd like. I just would really love that direction. So we're not getting more things for our playground area that you won't enjoy. We wanna pull you guys in. If you're outdoors people and you wanna do things, what is it you wanna do? Okay? So we're here for you, just let us know. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments from the public? All right, so I would like a motion from the board to close the regular session.
Motion?
In a second.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now I'd like a motion to open the public hearing for local law number 1.
so move.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, this is a public hearing for local law number 1, which is the curfew law. And this is time when members of the public can comment on that if they have any concerns or questions or suggestions or any kind of comments. Any member of the public have anything to say?
Do you wanna give them a brief synopsis of what's happening? Are you allowed to do that?
I don't think
Can you do-
I mean, I
Just so they would
can,
understand?
I can, I don't think that's usually.
I know
what's
normally
done,
we don't, but
right.
we've got people here and just to let them know.
So this.
So they can learn.
So this is a law that states that it's going to be unlawful for any child under 18 years of age to loiter, peddle, be engaged in any vocation, or remain in or upon any of the village streets, alleys, and public places at nighttime between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. unless the person is accompanied by a parent, a guardian, another person having legal custody, if they are in the performance of an errand or a duty directed by their parents. And this exception shall not apply when the person underage is playing, shall not apply when the person underage shall be playing in and upon an alley or public place. Does that make sense? Well, that's fine. Basically what it's saying, yeah, that last part does not make sense. Let me read the whole thing. Unless such person is accompanied by a parent, guardian, or other person having legal custody of such minor person, or is in the performance of an errand or duty directed by such parent having the care or custody of such minor person, provided this exception shall not apply when the person underage shall be playing or unnecessarily loitering in or upon any such street, alley, or public place. In other words, if they're accompanied by a parent or a guardian, or being directed by a parent or a guardian, that's fine, but if they are just hanging out on the streets, then that exception does not apply. And there are some other exemptions. Until the hours of 12:30 a.m. if the child is on an errand as directed by his parent, if the child is legally employed for that period from 1/2 hour before to 1/2 hour after work. If the child is on the sidewalk directly adjacent to the building where he resides, that's until the hour of 12:30 a.m. If the child is coming directly from a school activity or religious or voluntary association, prior to 12:30 a.m. And if the minor is exercising First Amendment rights protected by the Constitution, such as free exercise of religion, speech, or assembly, provided the minor must first have given written notice to the mayor in writing, signed by the minor and his or her parent or guardian. So there are some exceptions, but basically the idea is that children under the age of 18 should not be on the village streets between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m.
It's a good idea. I mean, I've heard of it, and I think it's a very good idea. Because working public health, we had a lot of complaints of vandalism, getting into cars, stealing bicycles, specifically on Cedar Street, because I work with families on Cedar Street, so I'm kind of getting it from the public.
Any other public comments?
So will we have enough patrols to come through, or periodically to check if,
I hope so.
yeah,
I mean, I can't promise that, I
Right.
hope so. I know, this law came about partially as recommended by the sheriff. The sheriff did increase their patrols and the state troopers did increase patrols. And I think once that they know that this has been passed, there's a little more, that they can do. So I think they're more likely to spend a little time here too.
okay.
Now, can Border Patrol, Homeland Security, can they enforce that as well?
I believe so,
Because they're around quite a bit.
yeah.
I know they work with the sheriff's department
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
hand in hand, so,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
And I believe it gives a reason for them to stop and ask the kids,
Yes.
would you have a curfew vote law? They can't just stop them, now they have a reason, how do you, cause I don't wanna tell you my name. Okay, so if you can't tell me your name, then we can take you to your parents, or, you know what I mean? I'm underage enough to talk to you, so I think that gives them a reason, justification,
Yeah, there's
To be able-
teeth
to be
in it
able
now.
to- follow through.
Yeah, there's teeth in it, and there are consequences. Any other comments from the public? All right, I'd like a motion to end the public hearing
So moved.
in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now I'd like another motion to reopen the regular session.
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Report from the Codes Enforcement Officer?
You have my report, things are slowing down. The only big thing last month was an epidemic of re-roofing permits with no permits. There's quite a few of them. Other than that, I can't even remember what I put in the report, to tell you the truth.
Lots of roofs.
Yeah. I mean, I had a few inquiries about different things. We had a use variance at the zoning board. That got approved, went to Potsdam. About it, really. I mean, there was not much. Had to get creative to fill out the page.
But, like a lot of these notice of violations, Mike, have been taken care of, or?
Yeah, yeah. There were notices that they needed a permit, and then, you know, I wait a week, see if they get a permit, or if we have to go any farther, but everybody complied, so.
Any other questions for Mike?
If you don't have any other questions for me, I have another meeting at the fire station I'd like to attend.
Sure.
Building committee there, we started, so.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Here's my report. Good evening all. It's so nice to see some people here. Welcome to tonight's village board meeting. As winter approaches, our focus has been on wrapping up projects around the village that can be done before the area is covered by snow, which I hear may be sooner than later. Hydrants are being flushed in a systematic fashion. Despite careful planning, there have been some water main breaks. I thank the DPW crew and Mike for all their dedication during long, long hours of work spent repairing those lines. Also, thank you to the local citizens who stopped to drop off coffee and food, which was so appreciated by everyone. I can tell you that a cup of hot coffee at midnight is mighty special when you've been standing in the rain for hours. I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to the Champlain Fire Department. They are always willing to lend us a hand when possible. One long night, they brought in the what's that truck called, Mike?
The light.
The light truck?
Yeah.
Well, that truck with those really bright lights on it, and stayed for hours as the water line was being repaired. Last week, they quickly agreed to open the station for our annual trunk or treat when torrential rain threatened to cancel it. Thanks to Natasha Nevius and Lori Brink for setting this up so easily and so quickly. I want to remind everyone that the burning ban is now in effect. There is to be no burning of any kind in the village, including campfires and fire pits. Also, the parking ban on village streets began on November 1st. From 2 a.m. until 6 a.m. there is no parking on village streets. I invite all of you to our annual Christmas tree or tree lighting celebration on December 14th at 6 p.m. in Pocket Park. Santa will be arriving with gifts for the children, and hot chocolate will be available. Earlier in the day, we will have crafts and our popular, ever popular candy cane hunt. Save the date. Details about those activities will follow. On behalf of the Village Board of Trustees and the entire village staff, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. May your table be filled with good food. May you be surrounded by those dear to you. And may you reach out to include those who might be less fortunate. Thank you very much. Reports from the trustees. Kim, you wanna start?
Thanks to the help of Tom, knowing a lot more about dock installation and things of that nature than I do, he's reached out to several different vendors and we're waiting on some return phone calls for more decking ideas and the ramp going down. I wasn't able to go to the river with him to look at the spot, but apparently there's an area that's been picked that would be very good for it. And on the other side of that, the good news is we got an extension. The woman finally got back to me. We got an extension until April, May
Good.
of 2020. So she said they understand where we live, what weather can be like, and I said, you know, we can put it in the water and have someone sitting in a parka, but it's probably not gonna be, you know, the nicest looking picture, and she said, no, that's fine. So I just need to provide updates of what's going on, like when the kayak launch comes in and what we're gonna do for signage and things like that, so. It gives us more time and it gives us a much bigger breather, to get that installed and get some proper pricing and
Yeah,
not be doing it
try
so.
to work within that budget.
And yes, and try to work, you know, stay as close to that budget as we can.
So we thought that we were on more of a, we've gotta get this done, and we ordered the sign and it arrived, so it's right in there, I can show it to you later.
Oh, okay.
I hope it's appropriate because we got it.
Then it's gonna be fine.
Just stuck with it.
No, it's really nice, I mean, it's really nice. Amy, if you'd like to get it, it's right behind there, you can show everybody.
Can we add to it?
I think we will want to, because it's not exactly what we thought it was, but it's gonna work, right, Mike?
And
Make it
Vanna.
work.
Let me show it to the camera.
That's what I found online that the other places had used, and I
Okay.
think above it, we can still have one that says kayak launch.
Right. Yeah, that's
what it
fine.
sounds like.
Yeah, we could use that and then
Yeah,
do a separate one to add to it,
Mhm.
yeah.
Can we make a pretty frame on it? It's pretty boring.
the color's lovely.
It's AARP red.
Yes, I took it right
There was
off
cri-
their
There was
website.
criteria in the grant as
I know
well.
you have to give credit to them,
Yeah.
Right.
and that's why I took it off their website.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
so we do have that part done.
That's perfect. Okay, so can we, get me the price of what that sign was so I can keep track? So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
I think
make
I
sure we
showed-
don't.
It's on our
It's on our warrant.
It's on the
Okay.
warrant.
And has the kayak come in yet?
No.
No.
No. Has it shipped?
Not that I know of,
No,
actually.
no, he's supposed to contact me when it ships. And no, I haven't heard from him, so I gotta follow up with a phone call to all 4 of those companies.
With a kayak itself?
No,
The launch.
the launch.
Launch.
Oh, okay, I was like, why are we getting a kayak?
No, the launch.
Okay.
Well, we're going to, but first we're getting skis.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I gotta follow up with that, Kim. He's supposed to let me know.
Is, anything else, Kim?
No.
Nikki?
Okay, back in September, we held our 3rd cooking class for this year. We did apple dippers, so the kids were able to cut their own apples and dip it into various chocolates and caramels. And we had about 15 kids, so it wasn't too bad. As Janet said, thank you to Champlain Fire Department, Natasha and Lori for arranging the trunk or treat to be held inside at the fire station this year. We still had a turnout of 125 plus kids show up, all dressed, you know. And those who participated to decorate their trunks all had a table, and they still did an amazing job. There were some really good tables decorated this year.
There were some that were less good, like mine.
It was still all Halloween decorated. Our next event will be November 16th at 1 o'clock at the Meeting House, and we're doing Letters to Santa again. We have our magical mailbox for the children to put their letters in that will be sent to Santa Claus. And we'll have tea and cookies for parents as they hang out and the kids write their letters. We're also doing a food drive, which we've done for the past couple of years, toiletry drive, and we asked if anyone has any extra hats, coats, or mittens that we can donate to JCEO and other organizations on that same day. And as Janet said, December 14th, we'll be doing crafts, cookie decorating, our annual candy cane hunt. And that's from 1 to 2:30, I think. So that's what we have for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Nikki. Thanks for all your work on that. Tom?
Okay. As Kim said, been helping out a little bit, we're trying to do the technical part of that project, but in regards to the water, agreement, the IMA, worked on that, got it back from Mr. Murnane's office with some changes, he made some changes. I felt were minor, missed some grammatical stuff, etc. So we went back and forth a few times, getting it to where we felt it should be. It has since been finalized and sent to the town's attorney's office, which was sent last week, I believe either Monday or Tuesday, and we haven't heard back from Mr. Fabro as of today. So we're waiting, so took a little longer than anticipated to get it to that point, and to get it typed out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we'd get it done a little faster, but just an extra week. And now we're waiting to see what their replies are to that.
Okay,
See if there's more changes or not.
yeah, all right. Anything else, Tom?
Nope, that's all.
Thank you. Amy?
Okay, so a couple things you had asked, I know this is not due till the spring, but permits for the fire pits. So the direction that we'll go come the spring, I was surprised to see the number of municipalities that do have permits out there. So what I'm doing is trying to collect several of those to see what we like on them, like we've done in the past with other things that we've done. So in Clinton County alone, there were 6 different communities that have permits. Essex County is, all towns have permits for burning. And Franklin County also had 6, 7 that do have the permits. So I definitely think it's a way to go, and I think that's what we're
I
gonna
do
see
too.
across the board for the state. So we'll get on board with that. I will continue to gather those and then put together a proposal. So we have it well in advance before burn season comes.
Mm-hmm.
So, now that I've said that on tape, I have to come through with getting it done in a timely manner. So this is my new leaf of not waiting to the last minute. So I started that. The next, you had asked me to look at this grant for the forestry. So it is a very, very, very in-depth grant. But there's 5 different options that are available. One is getting a grant to pay for tree inventory in our village, what kind of trees we have, what are the species, you know, what's their longevity, all that kind of stuff. Snoozeville to me, but you know, opportunity there. Then more of a forest management, which would not fall into us. And then tree planting, which is really where we want to go, which is the one that I would write the grant for. So I made a copy of that page of that agreement, of that grant, but there are multiple components. So I need feedback and input from you all because this time frame now is December 4th for it to be submitted. So you get points awarded for this grant based on a bunch of different things. And some of them are, we need to name at least 3 environmental, social, and economic needs for the village in doing this, in getting the trees planted. We also have to have a description of how the partners or volunteers will play a role, a detail of what their role with measurable tasks and outcomes. So you know how these grants get very, very in depth. We have to have local letters of support from local external stakeholders, community or business leaders, and members of the public, all right, as to the benefit of the trees. We would need to provide social benefits in an environment, an environmental justice area, which we would not qualify for. So we need to have 33% of our population to be a minority, and we fall at 1.19, so we wouldn't get any points for that. So we would have to make up points in the other areas because we're gonna get nothing in that category, okay? We also have to supply some outreach and educational events and activities around it. So I was thinking you have to have at least 3 of those to get the maximum points. Would be to have an educational one for the children, have one for the teens, and then have an adult educational component on it. So whatever we do activities around that would be my thought, and I would write that into the grant. We have to have professional guidance, and this is where it gets more insane, from a DEC forester who is ISA certified arborist, where they would come in, do you know one?
Yeah, in Ross's Point, I'm pretty sure he is, Matt.
Matt,
Oh.
yeah.
He
Mhm.
didn't wanna give us the other trees.
Right, and he's willing to serve on our tree committee also.
Beautiful.
I don't know if he's certified for that, but I'm assuming he probably
Okay.
is, cause he's the arborist for nice.
Okay. So the other thing I was gonna do is I'm actually taking a personal day this Friday, and where my camp is, they have the whole DEC little forestry dudes right there, a whole school of it. So I was gonna go to school and see if there's anybody there and whether they would be able to play a part in this. We also have to provide a complete forestry management plan, detailed budget, of course, with explaining out all the expenses of what we would do, what are the kinds of trees that we would purchase, and they would need to be purchased, trees that are conducive to our area, our environment, being close to the river, blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of research around that piece. So, my question to you, do you want to attempt me to move forward with this and try and get it? Do you think we'd be able to get the letters of support? I guess the key is gonna be contacting this guy first. If he's not available to even give us recommendations for me to research the costs and whatnot, to get this done.
It's a long shot.
It's a long shot, but the grants are for,
Got plenty
the
of time.
minimum would be $11,000. 11,000 to 50,000 for our size municipality. So the least we would get would be 11,000. If we could incorporate what our plan is for the revitalization downtown to get that part done, that would be pretty wicked sweet, but it's gonna take a lot to get this done. Cause these kind of grants are very, very intensive. I'm willing to do it, but I'm gonna need help as far as getting the letters of supports, the other components and research. So, and you need to give me an answer on that. So, that's all I have.
Well, I'm willing to help you get the letters of support. What other?
Oh, and we have to have 25% match, local or in kind. So that would be our volunteers, and we'd have to, I'm gonna need to know a team of volunteers who are willing to help, that would be helping with the planting or the picking up of the trees or cataloging, or whatever it is.
Can you have
we
somebody
need to
like County Soil and Water come, because she's,
Yeah, she's been here.
she's,
I've been
yeah.
talking to her.
do. Okay,
uh,
I mean, as part of the in-kind?
I mean, she was gonna help with the whole plan.
Yeah, she said she would help with the plan.
Okay,
But we have this month, so whether or not she's
Lot of time.
available.
right.
Good
Huh?
time.
Stop saying that.
You'll be in the treadmill, I know. It's not working though.
And what's the time frame for if we were to receive the grant? When-
Spring, money comes in the spring, it's awarded in March or April.
And are we prepared to plant in all locations if we were lucky enough to get it? Like, do we have to move the basketball court first, I believe?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be done this spring.
But
No.
Right.
I think I can get you a grant for basketball court, right? It just wasn't even, that's why I keep saying, when I say, give me grant ideas, what you want me to look for, there's money for that kind of stuff. I think I can get a grant for that, but I'll research it, I haven't done that yet.
Do you think you have enough time to do the
I have no
in-depth
time
part?
in my life to do this, no,
Yeah,
but I will work on it.
well, we can pass it up right now.
Let me,
Does
I-
it come every year?
Mm-hmm.
Is this
Yes.
a yearly, okay.
yes, you know, but
So would it?
I don't know, right now, yes, it came last year, but I got it like no time to look at it. And so this, I still have a full month, but I don't know.
Would we be better
It's
off to
intensive.
look for the money to move the court first to get that in place before we start?
Right.
We could do that, and then I
That way we're
could
ready to start. 'Cause a lot of those trees are
begin
going
this
that low
process.
Well, you can begin it, you still have it for next year's
We can
information.
begin it, right, and have that information.
Yes,
We can do
I
that.
agree.
I mean, if you
I
had a
agree.
year now to put it all together and get all the pieces.
She started last year, you just heard her, so most of that she's got lined up.
But I just don't want it to be where we were with this other grant, where we
Yeah.
have criteria that you can't meet because it's like,
Right.
we don't have time.
Right.
You know, I didn't wanna get the cart in front of the horse.
Right, so what I'll do is I will go in before this grant process is done, I'll print up the whole grant so that I can begin the process of it. Talk with this woman, see if she's willing, I will still go to the, place by camp and talk to them, the College of Forestry.
And you need 33% of the village residents to
A minority.
write
No, we won't
letters.
qualify.
No, I only need 3 letters.
Oh, okay.
No, the one component, which is worth 8 points, to the grant, which will hurt, so that we have to get full points in every other category. We can't score even 1 point, cause we have no
The
minority.
33% was the minority.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think it was that high. What did I say?
You said that.
Did I say 3?
You said 33.
Okay. Whatever I said is true, I don't remember it. That was a while ago now. 33.8, yeah. Oh, and I work with dementia people all day, and I think I'm getting it.
Okay, so
Okay.
Amy, this is what this
So it
is
is
what I will
contagious.
do.
It is contagious.
I'll send you the name of the, woman that works with Clinton Soil and Water.
Perfect,
I'll, figure out the 3 letters of support,
okay.
okay? And I'll contact Matt in Rouse's Point and ask if he's got that certification.
Okay,
Okay,
excellent.
so,
And that'll give me plenty of time to schedule time with them and begin that process.
okay.
'Cause it's, yeah, it would be better to have all the time in the world to write this. I prefer just to like take the whole time and write it straight. The interruptions is much more difficult, so, you know, it would be great to have more time. But, I mean, this is what I do, so I just have to make the time.
Okay. What's this called again, this particular grant?
This is called the New York State, Forestry and something or other. Urban and Community Forestry Project. And we are looking to do the planting of the trees, component number 3. Last year, there weren't 5 sections, it was just this huge staying, and maybe they didn't get enough people applying for it, cause it was so insane. I mean, I looked at it, I'm like, hell no, I can't do this. It literally is a full-time job to write a grant like this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for
Thanks.
being willing to
So-
tackle it.
With having a little more time to work on this one, do you think? you
Yes,
could
I
look
can,
into
absolutely,
that,
absolutely.
court? 'Cause that's, to
Mhm.
Yeah.
me, that's the first thing that needs to be done.
Yeah, and this is the time to start looking at your playground spring grants. December
Okay.
is when they all start rolling out. So, and then we'll have the combination with, the Charles Wood grant will be coming out again, and the Stewart's grant in combination with other people. So if I can find another grant and roll in, you know, several, that's always a benefit. They can show that we can get money from different avenues. So, I will be on that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
And I didn't know if you wanted a copy of this, I'll make a copy, put it on your box, of this component of it.
I'll take a copy
Okay.
of it. All right, thanks. The report from the clerk treasurer, please.
Okay, we had a water and sewer billing last month, and, our total with water was $66,140.85. And sewer was $72,060.62.
Somebody's not ready.
Not me. Mm-hmm.
And everyone has their October expense and revenue reports.
Is there a motion to accept the warrant
We have additional invoices for the warrant.
with the additional?
With the
The additional invoices are $5,824.49 for a total warrant of $44,153.30.
Make a motion to approve the warrant with the additional invoices.
A second, please.
So moved.
Discussion, questions,
A lot of money.
And there's the,
well, better than
Yeah, I
last
saw
month when
that.
we had the
Thank you.
paving put in
Come back.
there and,
no,
Only a little of the paving in this one.
yeah.
Nope.
Any questions at all?
our paving, our reimbursement goes in December 6th.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Garrett,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
It's too hard to break that, isn't it?
Well, it's the M's, I think, that throws you off. Report from the superintendent.
Well, it's been another busy month. Hydrant flushing is almost to the halfway point. We're still, with the weather we got coming, it looks like it's gonna be stretched out because it's gonna be in the 20s here. Trying to get the outside of the bowl done first, and then we're gonna come and, work on some of the problem areas. We still need to do our flow testing. I wanted to do it while we did our hydrant flushing, we really can't because we're closing valves to force water in certain directions, so you don't get a true flow test, because you don't have your regular flow, your valves are in normal state, so once we're done, we'll be starting on that. Sand's been delivered, salt's been ordered, maybe tomorrow, we're due anytime to get our salt. As you know, we've had, this past month we had 5 water main breaks, couple up in French Village. We had to change a section of pipe. We had one down in our problem spot here, down in by 1138 Route 9, and we had a couple on Moore Street. The first day we started flushing, we only flushed like 5 hydrants, and we had a hydrant that malfunctioned. The top came off while we were flushing, and when it did, the breakaway broke, and the valve slammed shut and blew a line across the road. So, but those are right now, those are taken care of. I still have the one we had down here in Main Street, we did in the rain. I hooked the copper from the other side of the road. So I pulled it out from under State Route 9, and I'm looking to try to get that scheduled so we can, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna try to get a pusher and push a new line across the road. Right now I have a temporary line running from an adjacent property. I got permission from the person that owns it. And we have water temporarily running or to that dwelling so they can at least have water. We started a little bit of shouldering in some of the roads that we had paved. We try to do that in between other jobs. We still have more to do, but as time allows here, I guess. A few drains we fixed. We still got sidewalks to, some sidewalks to repair mostly where we had water breaks. We gotta pour concrete. I don't know, the days are getting shorter here. We still have asphalt. I called all the plants today, can't get a hold of anybody either plant. So I don't even know if the asphalt plants are still running or if they're shut down. I got a patch of State Road, I've got a bunch of patching to do, and I'm gonna try again tomorrow. Yard debris pickup is done. We did go around again this morning, just because of the storm. But we're gonna have to change how we do it, because we usually advertise it for spring and fall, and we end up picking up from spring to fall. And we just, all the time's constant. We have some people had 5 and 6 dump truck loads at the property, and I'm all done. I can't do it more than one load, and so we're done for this, for the fall. Anybody else that has debris, they're gonna have to, unless we have some huge storm, then we're gonna have to make an exception, but, we're just gonna have to follow the rules we made and go that route. I've had an ongoing sewer issue with a local resident, where I'm hoping that maybe by tomorrow, we'll have that wrapped up. We were there today, but it's still not quite resolved. Some other stuff, I had talked to 3 different contractors about giving us a cost to put a water line over on Cedar Street. That's over by the curve, that's the one that we started last year and weren't able to do it, it was in the fall, it was too wet. I touched base with the contractors again Friday, 2 of them called me back, 1 of them didn't. Still don't have quotes for any of them yet, what the cost would be, so, I'm just gonna have to wait till they come in and see what we gotta do. Peterbilt, that's out, that needs a new hydraulic cylinder. Ours can't be repaired. I'm trying to get a quote. I've got a quote from 2 places for the cylinder. One is, it comes from the same place, comes out of Canada. But the hard thing is, they won't give them the price for freight and what the duty's gonna be. So, one place is like $224 cheaper than the other. We've got a single acting cylinder, in other words, our cylinder in our truck, it's power up, and the hydraulics just bleeds off when it comes down. We've always had issues because the headboard's been cut off. You usually gotta drive ahead and jab the brakes to try to get it to come down. If you tailgate material, you don't use it all, or if you need asphalt, something like that, you can't get the box to go down, you gotta push it down the backhoe. Cylinder is, just for the cylinder itself, that's no trunnion, that's no anything, you're looking at like $2,300 for the cylinder. A double acting cylinder, in other words, power up, power down. I'm told shooting off the hip, it's $500 to $600 more.
Well, are hydraulics compatible with it?
No. There's gotta be, sections put in,
No.
extra hoses, so you're probably looking at $1,000 to $1,200 more. But I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing your parts and labor, you're probably gonna be in the $5,000 to $6,000 range by the time we're done. Either way, we gotta put a cylinder on it.
Or 4 to 5 minimum.
I'm guessing it's gonna be $1,000 to $1,500 more
Right.
to put a double acting, because you have the extra piping, you gotta fix the cylinder.
It must be in the valve too, huh?
No, they can change the sections to make it,
Okay.
there's a kit to do it.
Okay.
And the fellow that I talked to from Tenco, where we bought the plow, he gets the parts from the same place as the local fella. Cause the local fella called and he was $225 cheaper for the cylinder, and he told me, he said, that's where I buy them. I don't wanna shoot myself in the foot, but you're better to have them buy them than it is go through me, cause you're gonna pay me and then you're paying him anyways.
So you're looking for approval to,
I'm gonna have to, I don't have an amount, there's no way for me to get an amount, but I'm gonna have to, we're gonna have to do something
this
to
needs to
get,
get done.
correct. And we got,
We have
Put a
an
motion on the
idea.
floor so we can discuss it?
I mean, we got snow coming.
Well,
And the only other option I have is to have, well, there's 2 things. One is that the top of the box is rotted, and it needs to be cut out and welded a new piece in. I told him you gotta do it, that's gotta be done.
Yep.
Cause that's where the salt's all running down on top of that cylinder, and that's what's pitting it so bad, if you rebuild it, it's not gonna hold, it's
Right.
eating right away.
Yep.
So that has to be done. I did talk to the fellow and said, depending how it goes, if it's approved or not, in the lead time, I may have to have you just cap the lines, I may have to get the truck back, put the plow and sander on and use it,
I was just gonna ask.
and then later pull the sander off and have them put the cylinder on.
Mm-hmm.
Just because if it's gonna be, the cylinder, the single acting they had, he called me today and he said they still, it took him 3 days last time to get pricing on what the cylinder would be. Which
So you
is,
build a cap those and still use the hydraulics for the sander?
yes, cause it runs off the PTO, so he said that could be done. So depending, I'm gonna keep an eye, what we got, I don't think this storm here is not gonna be, but depending how long the outage
That's
is,
what
you don't
listen
know.
to.
Yeah. All it's gotta do is wiggle a little bit and we're, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Well, Mr. Messner seems to think it's gonna be bigger instead of smaller.
I mean, we'll get by, the ground's
So-
not froze, it's early, if we had to use the 1 ton, we would do what we had to do to make it work, but, depending how long it's dragged out is where,
So you don't know what the lead time is on this?
the cylinder we had in our truck, they don't make anymore, they went to a different series.
No, but say we ordered a double action.
It's gotta come out of Canada, I'm not sure what the lead time is. I don't know. It's basically the same cylinder, other than it has an extra
Yep.
return line, well, you know,
Yep.
but the
So-
ones that don't
So
know.
my opinion is it's worth the extra money, especially since we're putting a new plow
Yeah.
truck in service at some point. And this is gonna be our dump truck, and if you have to be pushing the dump body down with a backhoe because you're trying to tailgate asphalt, that's not very effective.
Right,
Or you can, whatever it is, dirt, even when it's empty,
I
it's
know.
the same.
Well, you
We
actually
struggle.
potholes and-
And if you're gonna replace it, the time to replace it is when the cylinder's gonna be replaced. You need to have a cylinder you could've just rebuilt.
Sounds like it was a mistake when we ordered it.
Well, I think it was when they bought the truck, they cut the headboard down later. There wasn't enough head weight to, with that heavy gate to get the box down. The other truck that we had spec was power up, power down, for this reason, because we always fight.
Yeah, I know you've been doing it for a long time, so, in my opinion, it's worth the extra
I
money.
agree.
I mean,
Mike
I
and I
don't
have
know,
talked about it.
just guessing, I'm guessing you're probably looking $5,000 or $6,000 for total. That's just a shot off the hip. You're gonna have 40, you're probably gonna have $4,500 in parts, for over 4,000.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter which cylinder you put, you're still gonna have the same amount of labor. The difference is gonna be, maybe the freight, because it's probably a little bit heavier, double acting, and then the valve body. And the hoses and, you know, the connections for that part, but.
So would it be helpful to put a motion on the floor to grant him like up to $6,000 to get this done, or?
It's so hard without any kind of numbers
Yeah,
in
we
front
got
of
no
us.
ballpark, that's the
Yeah,
problem.
I almost wonder if you could get something and we could have an emergency meeting to discuss it, because without any numbers in front of
Yeah,
us.
that'd be better.
I know the freight, they said they won't, the duty and the freight, they wouldn't give, and in either place, they both told me the same thing. We don't have,
But we might know a percent that would be above, but otherwise we just don't have very many details to even come
the
up
only thing
with
I
it.
have right now is what the price of the single acting cylinder is from both places. I mean, they all come from the same place, but two different people. The guy that's working on our truck versus the guy we bought the plow originally,
Right.
the plow and sander from. And he was more, a couple $100 more. But he does come from the same, so I told him where I came from, he said that's where I get mine.
Where's it coming out of, other than
I
Canada, it's a big country.
Is it
don't
Quebec?
know.
Well, that
Don't
makes a
remember.
difference for the shipping and
Right.
duty.
Duty wouldn't matter, but shipping, yeah, it's gonna come by truck, I mean. I don't remember.
And what was the cost for the part?
Just a cylinder, the guy that has a truck was like 2,300. And I had it, the other one I had quoted, but I called him the other day, I had it quoted back in June, and from, Tenco was 25, 24. And he was shooting off the hip, the guy from Tenco, but he said, you're probably looking at 500 to 600 more for double acting. And then by the time you do your valve bodies, you change the splicers, you got hoses, you're probably looking $1,000 difference, when you do your valving, you know, all that part of it, so you can have stuff in between there you need. So he was, like I say, he was shooting off the hip, but he, you know, don't have it on doesn't have it on paper, so.
How does the board feel? How do you wanna proceed?
Call meeting.
I say
Call a meeting?
call a meeting makes more sense, cause.
I
And-
think so.
We don't have.
And hopefully, if we can, we'll get this and we'll get the bids for
That's
the,
exactly what I'm
at the
thinking.
water, because we need to figure that out.
Yep, exactly what I'm thinking.
For the water line?
Yeah, it's for
water
that
line on Cedar.
water
We
line,
get those bids in, we can approve, and we'll discuss both of them.
correct.
Okay. So hopefully sooner than later, since winter's coming.
I mean, I won't have an exact, but, I should be able to get hopefully closer anyways.
Close,
At least
yeah.
know what the parts are.
Right, yes, that just make the discussion much easier.
I know it's hard when you don't have, I mean, you can only have what they give you.
Yeah,
And that's the only suppliers coming out of Canada
That's where that box, Borock,
came from.
yeah. Yeah. They're corrosive, they're made for trucks, they're a 2-year warranty and they're got some kind of salt armor. But the trunnion was so worn out on top of that, it was just about rotted off because that salt's dripping through and that's what ruined that cylinder.
Well, that could have been disastrous all on its own at some point.
Yeah.
anything else, Mike?
Thanks, Mike.
No, hopefully, I mean, maybe by the, if we do have another one for this, maybe can do the same thing with the, hopefully the quote feedback for the plow truck. What is that? Maybe
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
discuss that then.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, what do you guys want me to do for the people that are parking on the sidewalks this winter? Do I just tow them? I got a few every year, it's the same thing. I gotta tell them, they keep parking on the sidewalk. So I want the board to make a decision, do I give them one warning and then tow them, what do you want me to do?
One warning,
One warning and tow.
just like we had to go with the
Constant.
lawns.
Constant.
One warning, done.
One and done.
One and done,
Okay,
Okay.
my opinion.
I agree with you, I mean, I didn't realize you were having that much.
well, I
issue,
have
but that's-
a couple every year, they call, every year I go through the same thing, and I've been doing it for, and I try to be nice about it, but it's getting old.
Mm-hmm.
It's right on the corner, turn the corner and the snow dumps, and they gotta call here, and then you gotta go back in with a small truck and try to clean where their car was parked. It's constant, every year, so. And I gave, I don't know how many warnings, so now I'll tell them, I'll do it on a letterhead on paper, this is your, once it happens, this is your warning, and the next time there'll be no warning, you'll be told,
Yeah,
and I'll leave it at that.
and we'll get the word out early too, that this is what we're going to do and we're going to enforce it.
I see there's a few new people in the village too that moved in that, right now even are parking on the sidewalk. And one of them I spoke to in Pine Street, told them that they were not gonna be able to park there.
Okay.
They work different shifts, so I don't know how that's gonna
Oh, that's right.
work, so. I mean, those guys there, they're new,
One backs
They'll-
up,
those
parked on
people
the
do
street.
need a warning, cause they don't realize, you know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't just,
right,
but, okay.
okay. Thank you so much, Mike.
You're
I
welcome.
really, really appreciate all that you do and the entire crew. I see every day how hard you work. Correspondence?
Correspondence from Champlain Fire District, quote from NCCC Systems, notice violation to Amanda McCaslin, JC monthly report.
Some of that correspondence we're going to deal with in the new and old business. Under new business, NCC camera system. You should have that quote. I think it's $4,325. This is for more powerful memory, graphics, processing power, a Windows upgrade. I don't know if Mike can add anything to this at all. We've invested a lot of money in these cameras already, but I do know that with any kind of computers and cameras, that if you don't go with the upgrades, you're left with something that doesn't usually work too well. However, I do see this is a lot of money, so, how about we have a motion so we can discuss this? A motion to discuss the,
So moved.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay. How do you feel?
Who else wants to speak first?
No, go for it, Amy, that's fine. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and we have put a lot of money into something as to what is the benefit of continuing with it, is my thought process here. If we have to dump this kind of money repeatedly over and over, to what benefit? I wanna know the benefits.
Well, I would say the cameras themselves have been a benefit.
Give me specifics.
The dump area, for example.
Mhm.
With the new camera that we have, we can clearly read license plates. We can see who it is that's violating our dumping policy. I mean, Mike can back me up on
But
this.
have you done anything with that? I
he
mean,
has-
have we
he
stopped
has
people and now we're closing down that dump area, so is that worth it?
Well, I'm just using that as an
Yeah,
example.
no,
but
What's
he
your
has-
playground?
Yeah, that
Use
was
that-
gonna
use
be
that
my
one for
question.
The
example.
playground,
because-
at the playground, we have identified people and we have been able to pursue who has damaged
But
tables
we
and who
aren't
is,
Pursuing them to replace anything, so what is the point?
well, they're
about-
being
And
pursued
what I'm saying is
legally.
that, you know, they've destroyed all that we've gotten money to fix in this downtown, they've ruined it. we have paid for these cameras to prosecute, but nothing's being done.
But I don't think that you're gonna get a full payback on the cameras. I think cameras are essential in trying to help control that as much as a lock on a door is. You know, without the lock, well, it makes it pretty easy to go in and out, but
Well,
I
it's been
don't,
pretty easy with them.
I don't think it's gonna,
Everything's destroyed
it's not
down
gonna
there.
solve everything, but you do have to have it, I believe. I mean, you have no idea.
How about if somebody gets hurt in liability, see what
Yeah.
happens. We had that, but. That's-
Yeah.
Is the quality a lot better now than it was before? Because I know before it was very grainy and not,
It's much clearer
It
now.
wasn't what he
See-
sold us in the first place.
yeah.
And this is what I'm concerned with, we keep getting sold on, well, yeah, this is gonna be your answer, and this is gonna be it. We're sold a lot of bill of sale, and this is my question here, is that kind of money to justify, what are the pros and the cons? I understand the importance, and I would love to be stopping some of the violence. I mean, I don't wanna be writing grants for stuff that's just gonna keep getting destroyed. These kids wanna have this stuff down there, and we can't have it because we've got a handful of people who don't respect it. And we're putting in a curfew law. I mean, we're in the little village of Champlain, and we have this camera system that this company sold us that is frankly,
Well, you know,
where
let's,
we need to be in
let me
business.
give you a couple more ideas.
Okay.
I mean, not ideas, a couple more examples.
Please.
The boat launch.
Mhm.
So we were able to fairly clearly see who broke those signs and threw them in the middle of
Mhm.
the water. And we did talk to that family and those parents
Mhm.
on that.
Did they replace the signs and pay for them?
Well, yes,
No.
they would have, we were able to fish them out of the river.
They fished them out and they put
We-
them back
We
up.
put them back up,
You put them back up,
yes.
not
But
the
the
people that did it.
the parents were willing to pay for those.
Mhm.
They weren't destroyed. There was a table down at the playground that was carved. I think that person was charged with vandalizing and had some kind of community service.
And they paid for it.
And they paid for it. I mean, there are examples where, I mean, we look at the cameras
We-
sometimes every day
kayak
in the
was
summer.
stolen.
Kayak was stolen, we could we
That-
can watch,
that was
we can watch
recovered.
them, that was recovered.
So I mean, I think there is a huge benefit
There's
to
a
that.
huge benefit for it. I mean, we look at what goes on at Paquette Park all the time at night. We can see the kids we saw the kids playing with those flags and taking them off. And you can tell who is who. My concern about this is upgrades are often important. I don't know enough about it, but I don't want what we have not to work because we didn't wanna pay for an upgrade. Because we do use them, especially in the summer, we look at them every day.
I mean, the cameras we upgraded, like the camera at the dump yard, and it is a lot better camera than the other cameras we had, there's no doubt. The clarity, I mean, it's the same hardware. The biggest thing is it's I wanna say slower. You know, it's like everything gets jammed up. I mean, you go to look and it's delayed, it's not, and I think that's all part of probably the upgrade or the.
Well, it says that they discussed this server upgrade. Was it with you or?
Well, he discussed it via an email where he suggested that we consider this back in, I think it was August.
Okay.
So is this quote still good,
It's still good.
even though it says October
I
first?
verified it. I
Okay.
reached out to him and I said, it hasn't been discussed yet. Is this quote still good? And he said yes. The
Yeah.
cameras really are essential. Maybe the upgrade is not, and I do agree that's a lot of money. That's totally up to the board, but as far as the cameras go, we get a lot of information from those. We just looked at them the other day to see who was dumping stuff in the dump yard, and we could identify the people. We said, oh, that's so-and-so.
How long before the upgrades could be done if we decided to do this?
That I don't know.
And the upgrades are good for 2 years, this is what he's saying.
And he's also saying that the existing Windows operating system will no longer be supported at the end of this year.
We have Windows 7.
is going out.
Yeah, we just upgraded our
We just
computers
upgraded
to
the
Go to
computers
6,
here.
you went to 10.
Yeah.
Is this
This
upgrade?
is on 7.
compatible with that, I think that's what this is
Yeah.
this is about.
Yeah.
Well, then,
Really, you used Windows 7? Hasn't been that long.
Yeah, Windows 7 has been phased
Windows
out.
10 has been here for quite some time.
Yes.
And so, you know, that's the other thing too, how did we let that go by? Anyway, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm thrilled to hear that we are prosecuting on some, because you know how I feel on all of this. We can have the stuff if we don't do anything, what is the point? We have to upgrade systems, I get this. Do I have a trust in this company? I have zero trust in this company. They sold us crappy camera system, a total different bill than what they came here and presented to us. And then we've had how many changes and upgrades and expenses? Do we have a total, Juanita, of what we have given to this company?
Not right off the top of my head.
Would you create that for me? I would
I
just
can.
love to know the total that they keep coming back with a story and what we need to do. And we have to justify to our constituents that this is why we're doing it. Yes, we have an issue in our village, there's no question about it, with the vandalism, with the breaking of the laws, the rules, and it needs to stop. We have a great community that we wanna have here for everybody. But I don't want a business selling us a bill of sale every so many months, year, that we gotta pour in another thousands of dollars to a system that you struggle with using at times.
I don't know what we paid for. I know we paid for it, we added cameras.
We
The
had
water- the
cameras,
water
we had to
plant-
replace cameras, we had to
That was
replace
Bert-
We had
lines.
Well, that was water plant, cause we added,
Mm-hmm.
we added to the water plant, so I don't know if we,
And then
We had a couple
replaced-
that weren't working.
we're bad and
Right.
they swapped
swapped
them.
them.
Those are
And
warranted.
then we got
It
an
took like a
upgrade
year.
on
We-
by the library.
Yeah, because we needed another one at the water plant,
Yeah.
because of the plant with the wells.
pay extra for that.
So we bought a new one and put it at the dump yard and had them take that one and
And
move
put it
it
at the water
at the water plant.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Well, we had to buy upgrades because he told us that they would be efficient, and we told him exactly what we needed it for. We told him exactly where it was gonna be. We put it exactly where they recommended,
how many years have we
And
had
so-
these? 2 or 3?
Oh,
not
this-
long,
Oh, no,
but double
Five,
whatever you
maybe.
think.
5 probably.
Yeah.
5 years? How
Yeah.
long, as far as computer upgrades, how long usually do you have to upgrade your computers? How many years? 3 to
Yeah,
5?
3 to 5.
Yeah.
Ours is
Constantly, actually.
Two at most.
When mine jams and I can't put any more, I'll buy another one.
No,
No, but
I know where you're headed.
I'm not sure.
I think we have to keep upgrading, we're gonna keep using.
Well, that's fine. I don't particularly like that, but I
Does
think,
he have another option?
are there other companies that deal with the same cameras that we could go to somebody else?
I mean,
The only thing about doing that is basically you're gonna start over again.
Right, and then
Well-
they'll say,
Like,
well,
with
this
our
system
system.
really is bad, you really should do this.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that's not what I'm
This portion isn't
suggesting.
compatible with our
I
equipment.
know
No,
that-
no, I'm just saying.
I know the
Yeah.
cameras I can buy and I can buy them for less, but the problem is the programming part of it, because I had said it before, but what if we buy our own cameras and put them up and they can just come and set them? But they're not gonna wanna do that, cause it cuts into their
Right.
profit, unless you know somebody on the side that does it.
Well, there's a motion on the floor for this,
That was to,
this bid to,
that
well,
was to discuss
to
it.
discuss it, to discuss accepting the bid, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we purchase the upgrade at 42.25.
Well, that's already on the table to vote on.
Yeah, I didn't word that well, but I think that's, it was to discuss the bid of 43.25. And there was a second on that, right, Mary?
Yep.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All right, roll call.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky, trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Garrett.
I would really, oh,
Vote your mind, it's fine.
no, I know that, I don't have an issue with that, I've been doing this long enough time. I mean, without it, the system is obsolete. I mean, we're working on Windows 7. I mean, that was a shocker to me that they even put these things in as Windows 7. But
But that was
That's what we
five-
had here in the
5, 6
office.
years ago.
That's what we have.
That's what we had.
That's
so
what we had
Windows
in the
10 has
office.
been around a long time.
We just got Windows 10 2 days ago.
I know, I'm shocked at that too. But anyway.
We're behind.
Well, you had to upgrade sooner, you
I
got your money's worth, you look at it that way.
Okay, Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. Thank you. Resolution of offices to be filled.
I don't know. 17 years,
Can we start now?
22 years.
Yeah.
I know, can we start before it gets cold?
Too late.
I don't think we're gonna change that now. Am I supposed to read this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, 2020 elections, Village of Champlain. Whereas the next village election for offices of the Village of Champlain, New York will be held on March 18th, 2020. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Champlain must designate by resolution and publish offices which are to be filled at such election and the terms thereof, be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Champlain has determined the following offices to be filled and to be voted thereupon with the terms of such offices respectively noted as follows. Trustee, term 2 years. Trustee, term 2 years. Be it further resolved that as required by village election law number 15-104, 3A, notice of village election shall be given at least 4 months prior to election date, and that the office to be voted upon be included in the notice. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Motion to approve,
So moved.
seconded by,
Second.
roll call vote.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Garrett,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. And the date. Thank you. Unpaid taxes. We each received a form, Village of Champlain certification of unpaid taxes. I just ask that you fill this in and, sign it and date it and give it to Mary. Fire district plowing request. We've actually had 2 requests from the fire department. They have requested that we develop some kind of intermunicipal cooperative agreement to, do their plowing for them. And they have also requested some help with, a sewer installation. I told them that I would bring this up at this meeting, and, so that's what I'm doing. I will say that they did check with their version of NICOM, our NICOM and whatever their group is called, and it is allowed to have these agreements between different groups. You are allowed to develop a contract with them for the plowing. And I would also say that, not to sway you in any way, but they have been extremely helpful in responding to water main breaks with those lights and other village things that, when there's a need, when they are available. So I'd like to hear what the board has to say about let's start with the plowing.
Well, I think we've plowed for them in the past.
I don't even know the history of it, so you can fill me in.
I
We
think
plowed for the library, I didn't know we plowed for the
Oh, I
fire
thought-
department.
I-
No,
No,
Before I
think-
started here, they
I
used
think
to.
what Kim's remembering is I helped during the big storms last year, trying to help Mike out, cause he was shorthanded.
But they
And-
did,
And they were in a
they're-
bind.
their contract hadn't started yet with their plowing,
Yeah, exactly.
what they'd hired.
Oh.
But before I started here, I'm told way back that the village did plow the fire department.
What time would that take you, would you say?
I don't know. It's
20
gonna
minutes
depend
or so.
because this is all
Depends on the
changing.
storm.
They're gonna have a horseshoe driveway. This is all changing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
At this point, they're-
The town is there now starting to dig material out for their new building. So the driveway's gonna come in on one side and be looped around to the other side.
But let's start
So-
for this year, would it be the current parking lot?
Yes, I think so. I don't think
Yes.
they're going to have
Well, you're gonna
any
have that,
changes yet,
and you're
are
gonna
they?
have the house next door too,
Because
the
of
office, that's gonna be part of it, I guarantee.
What, the little office? Yeah, it says right here, 152 and 162. The letter,
That's not the letter I got.
That's not the letter, all I
That's
have
the,
is the
oh,
letter
Juanita,
about
that's
the
the letter
sewer.
that got emailed to you, right?
Oh.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we just,
We don't have it.
all I have is
No, this is
the
You have the
sewer
sewer.
line.
Is this for the plowing?
Oh, yeah, this
Is
is
that,
the
is that
plowing.
ours or
So
the
she does
town's?
have one for plowing.
I do have
That's-
one for plowing.
Yes,
We
because
don't-
I asked
Yeah.
Woody to email it to you today, because,
But we didn't get
because
that.
I couldn't
No,
find
I
it.
have,
But we don't have a copy anyway.
Can we just get a copy of that?
no, it came on October 16th.
I know.
I bet you these both came the same day.
This
And
one's the
one got,
14th.
I
This
got
is the
the,
only one we have.
No,
Remember
I
this
have-
afternoon when I said, I
Yeah,
called
but-
Woody and I said, I can't find that
I
letter.
did not have it though, this has been in my correspondence
She's got the
since
file letter that
October
I thought.
16th.
And she got the original, so. we know
And
what
I
we're
have the
getting.
original.
So everyone else should have a copy of that one.
We
So-
need a
That has
copy
to
of
do
the
with the
plowing.
plowing, this one has to do with the.
Anyway. This one here
Sewers.
says, the Champlain Fire District would like to formally request the services of the Village of Champlain in regards to snow removal at the Champlain Fire Station and District Office located at 162 and 152 Elm Street respectively. In an attempt to cut expenses, shared services such as this would be most advantageous to the citizens of our community. We would be willing to reciprocate in a sort of mutual exchange of services when the village requests the use of any of our equipment. We look forward to a response from you regarding this venture.
I don't have an issue setting up, some kind of an agreement with the fire district to plow their driveway.
Does it, before I agree to that, I gotta ask you.
Well, the only problem I see, or possibly could see, would be, I mean, most of it can be done probably with a small truck, but would be, it's gonna be something here, it's not gonna be kept bare. Because if we're, depending where we are, if we're out in the storm, like I'm with the guys, we're getting the streets done or whatever, I know I'm still gonna have to do that, but it's not gonna be, and I don't know what's in there, we're not doing, walkways or any of that stuff. I mean, we'll do the major plowing. I don't know what, first I've seen or heard of it, to be honest with you.
I think we,
I
yeah,
didn't
same
hear
here.
about
So I think we would
So-
have to work those details out in the
Yes.
agreement.
In the agreement.
Correct.
Right.
Cause I know a year or so ago, I had somebody approach me and ask me about it, and I said, and back then, it was, it would've been a no, or it was a no. Cause they were talking about getting a small tractor and, and this kind of thing, but this is the first that, this is the first I hear of both of them is right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
The sewer
we
and the
definitely
water,
have to
so-
have some kind
Or
of
the-
clear understanding as to the priority. I mean, the problem is these are emergency vehicles that are gonna
Correct.
need to get out in a storm. And yet
Correct.
we have to keep our roads clear for them to get on the roads. It's kind of a, that's why I was asking the amount of time. And it all comes down, and we're paying for it no matter what. Whether we have our staff here, we pay through our staff, or we pay for it through our, the volunteer services.
With taxes to
Right,
that
with the
district.
taxes for that. So, financially, but can you handle that burden with what we have right now, cause that's additional, is it minimal, and if it is so, then we should,
Yeah,
this
and
is our
you're only
community.
talking one more, I mean, it's not like we're
Right,
making a special trip in
No,
to do it.
so, right, but I see
Right,
it
and I would
as,
put the
you're,
house at
you're in
the
a
very
major,
end.
you're in a major storm, you make a couple of passes so I can get equipment out, and then
Right.
you go back and clean up later.
Usually in a major storm, we try to coordinate with them, because if they get a call somewhere, we try to make sure they can get there. We try to coordinate with them, even if it's, say it was in Perry's Mills, and it's like before, when they pulled some of the plows off the road, and there was nobody, we would go to get them a path to wherever it was, If somebody wants to give me whatever for that, I'll take it. I mean, if it was their parent, they'd feel the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's emergency, it's different.
Yeah.
Did they
It
have
falls
any-
under a different entity.
Right.
He's
So-
equipment
Yeah.
out.
right.
But we try to stay with good radios, we talk to each other, so if there is a call, and they have to go somewhere, we try to make sure that they can get where they're going.
Okay, so
Um,
we need to be careful how we write this agreement.
Correct, we're gonna
And I want your
sit
input on
down,
that, yeah.
sit
I
and talk
think-
to them, cause the other thing is, it's gonna be,
Like have a small committee sit down and together,
Yeah,
both sides, and work on this, I'd be willing to help with it.
Okay.
the other thing is, like, what we use for
Yeah.
driveways is it's gonna be sand, salt, just like we use for the streets. Cause I know most of the other ones that used to come in with straight salt, that won't be, cause it's gonna be just like we use for the streets, that makes
True.
sense.
Yeah, you have a salt sand mixture only.
Correct. I mean, we have straight saw, we'll use it just for the sidewalk machine for the sidewalks. And we'll be burning it up like, so, I mean, other than the ice event, we'd have to do something different. But,
Well, we'll talk those details out when we're trying to,
Yeah,
or
and-
disagreement, cause if
For that
they're,
event, they would.
if
spread
their
the
needs
extra
are
salt.
greater than what we can provide, then we're gonna have
Right,
right,
to
Okay,
change our plan.
we'll meet on that very soon,
okay.
Okay, thank you. And then the other half of this is the, that sewer line. They're requesting, I think you do have that one.
yeah, we do.
They're requesting that the Village of Champlain provide manpower and equipment to install the sewer pipe that is required for the project. The town has already agreed to dig the trench for the sewer line. So Mike, I have to go back to you and ask you how
Well,
much work this actually is.
That's gonna cross the road. They're supposed to put a manhole in down in the gully on the other side of the road, so I mean, we couldn't dig if we wanted, we need an excavator. But I'm gonna have to see how that falls in, I mean, I don't know, I'm gonna have to talk to them and, I mean, I'm willing to help them, I don't have an issue with that.
Mhm.
You just gotta see what it's gonna
Yeah,
entail,
all it
because it's
says
supposed
is
to be adding
install
a
sewer
manhole.
pipe.
I mean, it's down, partway down the bank, off Elm Street, where that main goes through.
That line is
yeah.
that low,
Sewer pipe that
Yeah,
is
it's-
required for the project.
Yeah,
It's partway down that bank. So, and they gotta cut across Elm Street, they gotta cut Elm Street out, they're not doing that this year, they can't get asphalt. I don't imagine it'll be till next year, but if they're doing
I
it,
think it's worth a discussion, cause I interpret it as they're looking to do this now.
I'm gonna have to see,
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
gonna have to check.
cause
with them.
that's gotta be, Elm Street's gotta be cut, you gotta go across the gas, and you gotta cut across Elm Street, and, we'll have to see.
well,
I'm not gonna let them cut it until, unless they know they get the line across and get asphalt and put their road
Yeah.
back, because
Right.
we can't have stone.
No. Oh my.
well, let's check on that tomorrow. It's all going to be a matter of.
I would imagine if they must have designed it in an AES or whoever, I would imagine, I mean, they're gonna add the manhole and all that, I mean, that's not gonna be,
No, that's
they're asking for help, not us to supply
Right,
material or whatever.
yeah,
So,
okay,
I'll have to see,
so follow up on that tomorrow.
I'll
or
try in
sometime this
between,
week. Yeah.
yeah, I'll try.
Let's see, where am I here? Wastewater treatment plant operator training, I do have some, new information for the board. You do know that one of our employees was doing the, home course to get certified. That began in February. We received notification fairly recently that he had been dropped from that course in August. And that was because the course was a 6-month course and they said it wasn't completed in a timely way because he didn't take any of the chapter tests. But apparently those tests never were given to him with the book. He never saw them, I never saw them, none of us ever saw them. They were sent, we don't know where they are, he didn't know that they were he didn't know they came with the course, he didn't know to do it. All I did was ask him weekly, how are you progressing, and he'd tell me what page he was on. So, what we've done now is I called Morrisville, SUNY Morrisville, who has the program, and I tried to enroll him in the December course, because of course we're supposed to get him all certified by early 2020. That course is full. So I had him put on a waiting list. He is on the waiting list, and she told me it would be best, because the courses fill up so quickly, to just go ahead and pre-register him for the next course, which is in April. So he is pre-registered for that course in April. However, we did go ahead and book a room for him for December for 2 weeks. It's a 2-week course, because if he does get in, if there's a cancellation, he does get in, we didn't want him to be blocked out because he didn't have lodging. So that's where that stands right now. I'm going to contact DEC and tell them where we are and what's happened thus far, and we'll just have to go with it. But I wanted you all to know how this is progressing.
And there's nothing that can be done with proving that those tests were not sent to him?
No. I called, it's out of Sacramento State. I called the college. I spoke with the woman and, she said that it was sent. The book and the tests were sent. We don't even really know who opened the box or anything. We just don't know. It was in February. But he didn't get the tests. And I don't see the tests around the office, so I have no idea what happened. And he did complete book one in September, not even realizing that his cutoff date was August. So he's going to one of the actual courses, either December or April.
Okay.
All right, so that's where we stand on that, and I'll deal with DEC.
So, yeah, move forward.
Yeah, we have to do this, we don't have any choice. Okay, under old business, curfew law. See, we haven't even actually passed that, have we?
No, we
just
haven't.
did that. All right, so is there a motion to accept local law number 1, the curfew law,
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
I think I have something.
Yeah, the only thing that I just, it really didn't hit me until after, was I wish that part of number 3,
I gotta get.
as well as a report to CPS. I just wish that was further up the line.
Section 3.
Well,
Is that what
number
we're talking about, or-
3 under section 6.
Number 3.
Go to the
Oh,
last page,
this one,
yeah.
upon a third violation?
Yeah, I just, it didn't really hit me until today when I was reading through this again, was that,
On the last page.
I wish it was up a little further,
In other words, what?
that your kid, it shouldn't take the third notice of violation that CPS is called because your kid is out in the middle of the night and you're not aware of it.
Oh, I see, that part of it.
Yeah.
the CPS,
It's not the fine, it's
Yeah,
the calling of
right.
CPS. But I mean, I don't wanna drag this out because we really do need to get this in, I just wish I had concentrated on that part a little bit sooner.
Well, we certainly have the right to change it if the board wants to reword that in any way. I mean, it's a simple typing thing.
Do we have to have another public hearing?
You mean you want CPS called on the first violation, is that what you're saying?
No, a second.
Well, the second violation, I don't think you should, you got a kid that's 13, 14 years old and is out in the middle of the night and you're gonna wait till the third violation to call Child Protective? Bad on us.
Okay, but the reality of CPS responding and doing something on this is slim to none on a 13-year-old being out at night when they've got kids that aren't being attended to with drug addicts in the home.
But
That are little.
once the CPS,
Takes a lot for them
Case-
to respond.
but once a case is open, they have to follow through on it. So, that's my only thing, is I wish I had caught that sooner. People that aren't keeping their kids at home and out in the middle of the night, really need to be held responsible for them, or, that's my only thing. But I don't wanna hold it up to have another public hearing, because we do need to get this in place.
How's the rest of the board feel?
Can we make amendments to it if we find that that's an issue?
I was just gonna say that.
Right?
Yes.
So why don't we go that route and see?
Approve it and then look for amendment, do amendments later if necessary.
Yeah, and
I was gonna say that.
that doesn't stop from making a call to CPS if we feel that they're in danger. You're obligated to that anyway. So I don't even know if we could say we have to wait 3 times to make a call to CPS.
No, it's not saying we have to
Right.
wait 3 times, it's
Right,
it's
just
saying
saying,
at the
it
third.
will definitely happen.
It will definitely happen by the
Right.
third offense.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night, guys.
Good night.
Good night, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think it says that by the third,
As well as a report made to Child
And
Protective
you're right,
Service.
we
Yeah,
felt we needed to.
we can, and the officers are gonna place a call if they think so too.
Yeah.
I was
So I
gonna
think
ask
it's-
that question.
Yes.
At one point, do the police
They're mandated,
Yeah, they're mandated as well.
yeah.
So, that was my only,
Okay,
That was
it
my
is,
only thing.
it's a very valid point, Kim, yeah.
other than that, that was my only, and I apologize for
No,
not.
it
No,
was
that's
worth
fine.
discussing,
It's
cause
very good.
I think that after discussing it and thinking about it, I think it's fine the way it is, because it's just saying, boy, if we go to the third time, we're definitely gonna. we
No
will be-
exception, the
no
call will be
exception.
made.
Right.
Any other discussion
Cause
points?
none of us as board members are mandated reporters in our role as trustees.
Right.
We have to separate those out,
Mhm.
which is hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't need a roll call for this, do I?
No.
For local law? No, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Contamination cleanup, I just have a little bit of information on that. The bids were received for the next stage, according to their schedule that they emailed. They're supposed to start between November 4th, I didn't see anyone today, through the 22nd to complete the additional construction, the piping manifold, and to prep the pad for placing the system. They should be showing up soon to do that. I don't know, you haven't heard anything, have you? So they did end up getting 3 bids. I know they were a little bit delayed because they were waiting for 3 bids, but they did get 3 bids. And that's all I can tell you. So they should be coming in the next 2 weeks. The whole thing is supposed to be done by mid-December.
You'll see it, you'll see it in your electricity bill.
Yes, I
What is
know,
going
I can hardly wait.
That'll get Amy's attention.
It'll get mine too. Under the land bank, I've been serving on the bylaw committee for the land bank, for the Clinton County Land Bank. We just completed the final version. I haven't gotten a copy of that yet, but as soon as I do, I will forward that to you. It's going to be presented to the Clinton County Legislature probably at the end of November, I believe. They also are going to need a list of zombie properties in the village. And keep in mind that zombie does not mean that it has to be foreclosed. Zombie is a danger, abandoned, dilapidated, a financial burden if it fell on us too, not literally fell on us. If it came to us to have to remove it, but it is not necessarily a foreclosure. So we do need to compile a list, and I will submit those to the land bank people. It's been a really interesting process to pull this together, and I do feel it's really going to benefit us. I think it's going to benefit the entire county, but I really think personally it's going to help us a lot. Did you say you had one more?
Yeah, I keep forgetting to report this for the past couple of months, but I wanted to update us all on the sign that is missing over the door.
Oh, good.
That's right.
I know, I keep forgetting about it. I should note it, right? So, it's been taking this long because, Scott has closed his business. Formally closed his business, I should say. He still has the shop open. He is trying to clean up old projects like this, but now working a full-time job, it's making it difficult. Although I did call him, Saturday, and he actually was in the shop working, and Julian, the artist, was walking in as I called.
Good timing.
It was perfect timing. So they are working on it. Scott has all the, sizes, dimensions, etc. loaded into a CNC machine. He has the material. He was waiting for Julian to verify that the space was right for the painting of the longboat. And once Julian blessed it, he was gonna cut it out hopefully within the next week and get it to him for painting, and we're hoping by the end of the month to have it so we can put it back up.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, let's hope that it comes through, because I've been working on this for several months and I keep forgetting to talk to you guys about it. That's why it's taking so long, is,
Well, then maybe we wanna leave it in for the winter to cure properly instead of putting it out in the harsh winter right away.
well, if you want, I could bring the old one back, put the old one up for the winter.
That's true.
I probably got some metal ones out, bad green road signs.
Well,
Village or jail.
this is-
brand new.
You can hang that one in the air, it'll last.
Well, it is different material,
Fluorescent.
it's different
Yeah, they're
material.
green.
Yeah.
Nobody's limit signs.
So, yeah, that's all I have.
Thanks.
For
Every
you.
time I pull in, I look up and go, that
Every time I
sounds
drive by.
Janet,
No wonder you couldn't
can I
find
just say one more thing?
Yes,
Don't forget, tomorrow's election day, exercise your right to vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, vote,
yes.
there's so many issues.
All right, if that is everything, I'll take a motion to adjourn
So move.
and a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bloody
Bloody hot in here.
It is.
Oh, I thought it was comfortable.
Can I reconvene?
I'm a-
Can I reconvene?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a motion to reconvene?
So moved.
Second and so, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we need to go into executive session for a few minutes.
Who seconded
Okay.
that, can I ask?
Who said
Nobody
this?
seconded.
Oh, I thought Nikki did.
Oh, did
Sorry,
you,
you did.
Nikki?
Yeah, sure she did, I thought.
I thought I heard
You
you
need
say
to be
something.
louder.
To discuss personnel issue.
Can I have you sign his?
Yes.
paperwork?
Yes.
Then we will